All right, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 5:38 p.m. Roll call. Colleen's here, and we're missing Kanu, right?
Yeah, looks like it.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to listen to this on the phone and deal with the computer. Anyways, sorry. So I would like to make a change to the agenda and add property owner comments to the front, considering that we are going to be up against the wall with finance. So does anyone have an objection to that?
No.
Nope.
Okay. So we'll start with property owner comments.
We do have a property owner with us tonight. If you'd like to jump in for this, just go ahead and use raise hand and we can bring you over to the meeting, and you're welcome to address the communications committee.
I guess I'm so sorry, guys. This thing's making me all messed up. I need to motion to approve the amended agenda first.
Second. Okay, motion to
All right.
approve the amended agenda.
Then we
Sorry.
could do that by there's no objections. Okay. Property owner comments. Seems like we have none. So let's move on to introductions, since we all have not met each other. I don't believe. Maybe there's a couple. Well,
I know Trang and I know you. And I know John,
Yeah.
of course.
So I'm Josh. I'm on the board as your board co-chair with Sandy Mitchell on the communications committee. I am on the communications committee because I like advertising and design and stuff, and I can use my skill sets for that here. And yeah, that's me. Whoever wants to go next. This is so awkward. I'm so sorry.
Sandy wants to go.
So my name's Sandy Mitchell. I'm on the board, co-chair here, and I just want to help get the communication streamlined so that it's transparent and the policies and things are clear to everybody, and we can get a lot of fun things done.
Nice. All right, I'll go next.
I think Bob
Tammy
should go.
Vanderpolder, I'm on the board as well. And basically, similar to what Sandy said, I just see that we need to, the community loves to get feedback from Sun Valley, and the more communication, the better. And it does stop the speculation. So I am just excited to be part of communicating with the community, and I guess that was really bad, but just want to make sure that we are getting all that information to them. It's just, I think it's a great thing.
All right, here I go. I'm Trang Warlan, and I joined the committee last summer, and I wanted to do that. It's the same reason why I would like to continue this committee, is to do exactly what everyone who is in this committee wants to do, is just have a clear understanding and communication between the members, the board, our wonderful staff, just so that we can all coexist. And I feel like pretty much the more you know, the more you communicate, the better the community would be. And that's where my strength, I feel, is. I do the communication for the Kosher Middle School, and I do a few through all the communication community organization that I belong to. And that always, I feel, makes the community stronger if you have a strong and streamlined, like Sandy said, communication method and metaphor. Yay.
I'm Am I unmuted? I am. I'm Liz Vidal. This is my third year, I think, on the communications committee, but we weren't really able to get too much done because of COVID until, I guess, the middle of last year. You know, communication's great. When I first joined the committee, the then admin person had told us we were mostly just to do promoting events. I would love it if we could branch out and actually do something else, because the idea that we get to communicate other things to the community, I think that's kind of cool and exciting. But I don't know, it's going to be fun. Let's I don't know, let's see what happens. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm not good at public speaking, so I'm going to turn it over to somebody else.
I'm Colleen Mitchell. I'm Sandy's daughter. Moved here in 2020 and really love the community, and am excited to be here, and being a fairly new person, just am motivated to help be a positive part of the communication bridge that I think will quell a lot of the community angst that I have experienced and kind of see. And so I feel like, you know, that's really the root of having a successful community. And so I'm looking forward to being a positive part of that. I ran my own LLC. I have done communications on social media for group healthcare practices, as well as my own private practice. So anyway, I'm looking forward to being a positive part of this committee.
Nice.
So is it just me left? Is anybody else?
And Cope.
Ann Cope. Hi, everybody. Ann Cope. Like Liz, I've been on for 3 years, and she's absolutely right. When we started, it was really described to us as more of a planning and promoting events, and there wasn't a lot of talk about communicating things, important things to the committee. And obviously the website has always had issues, and we've talked a lot about that. Josh and John both have had great ideas about that. And I'd really like to thank Josh, because he's done a lot to really to help clear out of a lot of communication out of Sun Valley that we didn't need. He's really streamlined a lot of the things. And he's been a great resource to some of the staff that we've had. So we're really lucky to have him. And I hope that we can get a lot done this year. Thanks.
Thanks, Ann. That's sweet.
You know, you're okay.
I say things about John, who's up next.
Yeah, I'm John Kerr. I'm your staff liaison for communications. I can help give you insights into what staff can provide. I'm really excited that there's some budget this year for website work. That's awesome. Yeah, I can kind of give some insights into some of the technical aspects of communication in and around the Valley. So happy to be here.
Who did the e-blast this week? Because that was great. I don't know.
Josh has got to get his phone.
Josh is probably Josh.
It was Josh.
Was it? Nice job, Josh.
It looks like Josh.
Wait, can you hear me now?
There you are.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Why is it muting on my phone when I mute on the? I don't understand what's going on here.
Maybe
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate it. I've been doing the e-blast for the last couple of months. I know there hasn't been some in a few weeks, maybe a month and a half. It's been a while. But, you know, I parse out the information that I get. I'm not, you know, actively diving in there like a little rodent and getting everything. So I get what I can scrounge up and put out. That's not, well, it's kind of on our list today. Once Dan moves someone over from staff to do the e-blast, then that'll be off, you know, our plate. But I think what we can do as a committee as part of that is to take information from the board take information that we get that we can parse out to the community and do that. We have to have a voice, a specific voice, the way we communicate to the community that's consistent. And, that's something that we're going to have to talk about moving forward. But our big objective for this year, which was last year's objective too, is to redo the website and not update the website like completely, like just start fresh. And so, Trang, I saw your document. I briefly looked at it. That was awesome. I'm going to do a screen share here in a second. But basically what I would like to do, and this is, this is just my idea. I don't know if this is the best way to do it or not, but I would like to take the information on the site, print it down, as Trang, you said it in your document, less is more, and write it so it's consistent. And we can probably split that up, create a milestone of who does, steps of who does what. I know a couple of you can write really well, and get that coherent and get the message clean and focused, and figure out what we don't need in there. So hold on, I'm going to pull something up real quick. And if I'm like going too fast, or if I'm like just like out in the weeds, just say so. Can I share screen, John?
I believe you can. Yeah, I believe it should be set to panelists. Yeah, there you go.
All right. So hard for me to see what what's showing here. Do you guys see this right here?
I do.
Can you read that okay?
Yep.
So this is, for those that were on the committee last year, this is the current site navigation. So the top is everything that is, on the homepage top navigation menu. This portion right here is the side navigation. So we have information kind of going everywhere versus just all in one stable location. So we briefly touched on this last year. I just kind of dressed this up really quick, but so what I looked at the site, and Trang did the same type of thing. All these things can change. What I would like to do is give everyone a copy of this so that you can take a look at it and be like, okay, well, maybe we call this, and maybe this section goes here. But ultimately, it's just putting these things in the right area versus everything kind of just, I know the website's been kind of like this monstrosity of like multiple different things happening at once. And, it's just kind of a patch process because there hasn't been a new site. But, I want to get away from doing that on the pages where there's just too much information. So for resident resources, if you go to common forms versus like ACC and committees or board, whatever, all being all on one page, we can have a simple drop down menu that, select the category, and that might be ACC, that might be rules and regs, so on and so forth, and then select the subcategory, and then you hit download. So like the same thing with board agendas and minutes. Those can be in a drop down where it's select the date, and then select the actual meeting. And then we can have like a, view by date or some kind of sorting thing there. And can I switch this, John? How do I don't know this stuff. One second, I'm going to share something else here. So this is an example that I found. Snohomish, is that how you say that? So, I couldn't get any of these to work, but I think this would be perfect for Sudden Valley side as far as being able to, you know, delete a lot of those lines of links and such. And then this can be like, you know, as I said, ACC or maintenance or whatever, where you would get, you know, certain forms, rules and regulations, covenants, bylaws. And then even like we can even put like reserve studies and stuff like that on here. And then we can have a search, and then they would just select their, you know, which form it is based on, you know, which item, and then you can download the PDF. So I think that would be a really good way to kind of squeeze some of that stuff out of the site. But another thing is that when we go to development, I want anything that staff puts in, such as like if there's a board meeting that goes to the calendar, all those pieces are filled in. So they can upload a PDF of the agenda. It's automatically going to go to this bank of documents. It's going to go to the page that, you know, on your event page for the board meeting, that'll have the download of the PDF. So everything's kind of like works in tandem without staff time having to put it multiple places, or, you know, I know it's like hard to remember certain things, you know, and it's like, hey, I got to get this agenda up real quick, but, you know, it might not hit the calendar. But this way it's like that goes everywhere, and that should be easy for a developer to implement. So I'm kind of like just kind of talking in a circle here, but I guess what I'm looking for from everyone is usability, things like that. So if you see anything else on the site where you think that a complicated process could get smoothed over, make a note of that and, you know, let us all know.
I really like that
And-
last screen you shared, Josh, because, you know, all the drop downs and everything. I mean, this is an example of the Snohomish School District, but the simplicity of that last screenshot that you had, like of the last thing that you showed, because I have been using the website. I've been just looking through it, and I will go, where did I find that before? I've been finding it a little frustrating. So it was so nice and clean, that last page you showed. So that's really encouraging.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that stuff can, once we clean that up, it would just be less stressful. And then of course, you know, whoever is going to develop it, they'll develop it for mobile. So then you can get the documents on your phone pretty easily. Sandy, yes?
So is your goal for us to gather our business requirements and then develop a full specification based on our business needs to hand to the developer? I mean, I do this all day long. So I'm just
Right.
asking if that's the format that you want to gather it and then do the business need and develop the spec based on that.
So I think that sounds great to have like a wants list, right? And for development. And I mean, just say right now the sky's the limit, but ultimately we want to have a site that is usable and ultimately will save staff time. So yeah, I would make a list of those things that you see and that you think that you feel is important. That's one thing that I would like everyone to look at from this site goal. And then the other thing is that I want to figure out the best way, because, you know, I need your guys' help on this, is how can we split this up so that we can all, you know, have a part in it and, you know, write or change up some of these things that are on here. So I guess what I would like to do is have the content ready to be placed in. Give a developer a list of the things that we will require, and then we're also going to give them wireframes, which I'll set up and work with you guys on. I mean, we can actually do that live in a meeting if you want, to see how where we want things placed, and so on and so forth. So ultimately, the developers will develop just enough pages that'll get us to where we need to be, so that staff can plug in the information that we have already written. The pages will have styles to them and all that kind of stuff. So it just needs to get put in, and then that ultimately will save on development costs. I believe Trang, and then Taimi, and then Sandy.
Yeah, so I'm sorry that I didn't send you guys the notes before, because I wasn't really sure but it sounds like we were kind of like on the same page, Josh, as far as when I was looking at the website, how it was just so overwhelming. I mean, even if I wasn't a new resident, it was just a lot of information just kind of like out there. And some of it I don't even want to see or need to see. So when I did that layout, I was just kind of like looking at saying how we can still have the same amount of information, but like you mentioned, more of a Dropbox situation, so that if I'm looking for a specific ACC form, I just go into the form, look up for the ACC. I don't need to know about the other details or about golf or about anything else. I think I looked at several HOA websites too in comparison, and some of them I liked and some of them I didn't like. But what I noticed that it all had in common was that they had not a lot of wording out there. It was just kind of like a simple categories like you put down in that map organization, then a drop off in regards to that. And a lot of the important things that I think we get the most comments from the community wise is security, maintenance requests, ACC requests. Those should be like right on the front page, like you had that there for contact and security. Those should be like the top things that you should see, the first thing you see when you go into the website. Now, as far as the minutes and the HOAs and the communities and all that, that's great to know. But like you mentioned there, it can just be a Dropbox. It doesn't need its own tab and doesn't need its own. And if there are people who want to research or look up estimates or minutes and stuff like that, that will be an area just designated for that. So I feel really great. I'm so glad I saw your little outline thing, because that was exactly what my mind was going at when I was looking at the website. How can we make this as simple as possible, but still have the same amount of information that our community members want and need? And so I'm super excited. The only thing is I'm more of the layout and the look more than the editorial aspect. So if you're going to assign assignments, I'm probably not going to be the writing portion part, volunteering wise, but I would love to take a part and help like do the layout and, overall look of it.
That's awesome. We can do that. Sandy?
You're muted, Sandy.
Tammy was first, but okay, I'll be fast. I just would volunteer that I can make a template to capture the ideas in a way that can be presented to the developer. And then like below the use case, you guys could draft the look and feel, the layout kind of thing. But to have the data requirements in a way that a developer is used to receiving them in the business sense. And I could, send out a draft form tonight that people could.
Well, you don't have to like rush into that unless you really want to. I know you love doing the data forms, but I was hoping that you were going to volunteer for that. So that's great.
Yeah. And like I said, my other work computer has a dozen forms. So I'll just take, after I listen, I'll take the best columns and we can test drive it and see what works.
Okay.
Thank you.
Taimi?
Well, I was going to ask you at the time when you had the other form up that I was going to say, go back to the one with all the Sudden Valley drop boxes, because that's kind of where I was going at the time. But like if everybody was, because I really liked that, it was nice and clean. So, I mean, we could all take a portion and and work on that and kind of figure out what we want to research and fill that in. But basically I was going with, can you go back to the other screen? But then I was looking at
Yeah.
Colleen and she's laughing because obviously her mom loves to do this stuff. So I thought that was really cute.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the one. That is a great layout. That's so clean and good. I love that. May not
Yeah,
be
this is
perfect.
just
It's pretty
a
good
flow
though.
chart. So,
So
but,
much easier.
So, Colleen?
So I shared with Josh and Trang, there's a good, there's companies out there that just build HOA websites. I'm going to put that link in the chat just because I found it really helpful to look through all these other existing layouts. I think that I'm kind of with Trang in that I think my contribution would be strongest in the aesthetic. I also would like to involve the community in that I wanted to put out something because we live in a beautiful place. And if you look at some of these example websites in this link, like they're very welcoming, right? And there's a psychology to building a website. And I think that we could, as part of how we're trying to communicate with the community, like have the website convey that visually. And so my concept was, because there's a lot of great photographers that live here and there's beautiful images showing up on social media all the time, but was putting a call out to residents so that they can feel part of this new website, right? Part of like bridging these committees and the board and all these things that we're doing with the people who live here. And so they feel part of it. So I was going to put out to the group if they thought it would be a good idea to put out a call for, photography. You take some beautiful pictures. We live in a beautiful place. Can we get that onto the website beyond content? Like we can make it beautiful. So that's where I'd like to work on.
I think that sounds great. That's perfect. Yeah, we can do like a contest or something with it too, and involve the Instagram, which we need to do. But so as far as like roles and responsibilities here with this, I guess, project, I mean, I'd like everyone to kind of look at the aesthetics like that, and also as far as the copy goes, I don't need a lot of writers, but just to maybe take a look and see if there's anything that's kind of like, yeah, I'm not sure about that, or like maybe could we actually have this section, and then one of us will write it. So just think about that stuff as well. Liz?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, I'm happy to help you with writing the stuff, Josh. I mean, that's what I do or did for so long. So writing, I'll help with that happily.
Okay, awesome. And I know Anne will too.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a voice. Colleen, did you have another thing? Or is that a lingering hand? Okay. So I'm going to show you, I think I might have showed some of these guys this before, but this is a site that well, I mean, they changed it recently, but this is another HOA, and it's called Serenby. It's in Georgia. I love how sparse this is. It's kind of welcoming and open. Their photography is beautiful. I mean, this is more of like a destination type of website, and it's clearly to attract people to this place because they're kind of like, they're an HOA, but they're their own developers and stuff like that. It's all natural, green living sort of thing, lots of community gardens. It's, an oasis, only thing it's on the East Coast, but it looks good. It's beautiful. It's easy to, get to things. I like these menus. But like, of course, this is all subjective, right? My feeling would be to, as Colleen was talking about, show off the beauty of Sudden Valley, but also have the information that we need kind of at the forefront. So like, let's say we have a hero image like this, you know, maybe when it's time for clean green, there's a thing about clean green in this hero. And I'm not saying use this for every single thing that comes up, you know, like bathrooms closed. We don't need to announce that on a hero, but like the big things that people are involved in, like that they need to know about, you know, clean green, fire-wise, if there's going to be an incoming snow thing, you know, maybe there's a thing about like what you need for the snowstorm or whatever, you know. And then any other time we can have beautiful photos of Sudden Valley that are on a scroller and can, you know, show there. Maybe there'll be a video in the future. I'm not sure. But this is just one I liked. I mean, it would be kind of cool to eventually have like a Sudden Valley Goods type of thing. Maybe, you know, Brian could have a lot of stuff in the golf area, or maybe it can be an admin or something. And
Valley swag, Josh, is that what you're trying to?
Yeah, I still need to get those. I thought it would be kind of cool for the marina to have like shirts and like maybe even nautical flags for boats that are kind of like Sun Valley themed or something. But yeah, so there's that one. It's an influence. I just like how they.
It kind of reminds me of like a Pottery Barn ad, though, Josh. Like I want to go buy Pottery Barn stuff. But
the
yeah, I
dues
get
are
yeah.
Actually, their dues are really low. It's interesting.
When was the last time the website was updated or created, or was it ever? I'm just curious.
I'm not sure.
1962.
2017
No way.
maybe.
No
I'm
way.
kidding.
John,
There wasn't that in 62.
If you go to archive.org, you can do the Wayback Machine, and there's some old Sun Valley sites that are actually on there that are kind of interesting to look at.
That would be.
John, have you done that?
No, I have not done that.
It's interesting. You should take a look.
Yeah.
It crawls though on Sun Valley. It's like really slow. It might just be me, but.
So going back to what we talked about, and you kind of touched base on it, Josh, that mobile ability is so important. I mean, we found that out last summer when there were lots of people were trying to reserve their pool time on the mobile site, and it was just like the most, I don't know, issue that
I mean, it's common now. It's so common nowadays that'll be part of the estimate and stuff like that. I mean, you know, we'll even do like wireframes to make sure that they're that they have an idea of what it should look like when it goes to mobile responsive and all that good stuff. Oh, you guys are chatting in here.
I'm not. So speaking of which, like, what is your timeline? Like, what are you proposing the launch, or when do you anticipate all of this coming together?
I think we need to kind of think about that a little bit more. I'm gonna maybe send an email in the next couple of days to you guys with some ideas of that. Because I need to figure out, because the board has a budget for the site, right? Like our committee doesn't have a budget technically. And Dan briefly asked me what I thought it would take. And, you know, I think we can come under that number that's budgeted for it. And so I need to figure out the process of what we're going to do and how to approach the board with that. And John, I'm sure you're going to be instrumental in making sure that we obtain the appropriate quotes and stuff. But, you know, it would be good to put a certain package together, as Sandy was mentioning, and then with all of our needs lists and all that. So I'll take a look at like the things that I think we need to update and set some goals, and then send that to you and you guys. And then you could just say, hey, this looks realistic, or this is out of control, you know, hit the road. But I'm pretty open to whatever. So, Anne?
I was just going to ask if John wanted to say something about it.
You mean about the design?
Yeah, just any ideas that you have, since, you know, it's your your thing too. Mostly
Yeah.
your thing.
I think I'm gonna just lean on you guys for the big, for the big vision here. And if there's something that seems like it might not be heading the right direction or something, I'll certainly pop up here and say that, hey, by the way, we've had this happen in the community, or we've had this happen in staff, and we probably should cover our bases in different directions. So if something comes up like that, I'll definitely let you know.
And the stuff that I've mentioned so far, John, that would seem helpful on your end, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I know you're stressing because you got another meeting. We'll wrap it up
I'm fine.
shortly. I could see it. It's okay. It's okay, John. Ann, did you have another one? Colleen and then Sandy.
I just wondered, because I think a lot of, I kind of sit on particularly social media, and I just kind of listen, like what are people talking about? What are they upset about? What are they, and that's been since I moved here. But I think that because we have all these like emergency things, like with climate change and floods, and so what is the capability of the website? Like who's in charge of like last minute, the capability to have last minute things on that landing page. So when people are looking for information, it's right there, it's available, and it's updated. Who's in charge of that, and what is that? What does that look like? I know that was something that had been talked about quite a bit.
I'm not sure technically. I would say Dan Pike at this point would be the point of contact for emergencies. John, you might be able to kind of fill in a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd say, if we were actually making a change to the front page, that would have to come from the top of the leadership. So that's Dan. As far as otherwise news posts, we put on a pretty regular basis, but that's just in that news feed that's on the site. But anything.
And then for the new site, oh shoot, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry, John. That was rude. For the new site, one of the goals for the staff part of it is to be able to actually get information on there quick and easy. So that's make an announcement, go in there, write what it is, post it. There you go. I think it's a little bit more of a hassle now, but that can be something that's set up well for them. Sandy, and then Trang.
So just so that I asked the questions up front, usually there's a communication strategy, and I understand the website and mobile is a big part of it, but is there an existing communication strategy, charter, policies and procedures that we need to fit the projects like the website underneath?
Well, we do have a chart, which I'll send that to you, and I apologize that I did not send that to you.
Is there a strategy per se that this is what we do on a web, and this is what we do in an e-blast, and this is what we do in Instagram, or
we need to create something like that. We need to create a strategy, and we need to create standards for the association. The ultimate strategy for the site right now is just making something functional, aesthetically pleasing, where people could get their information. Unfortunately, I don't have much further on that, but that is definitely something that we can look at.
Is that part of this committee or the documentation committee?
Anything related to us, like if we wanted to create standards as far as our communication goes, we can bring that to the board.
So we can pull the package.
Depending on the level of like, is this, board worthy? I'm sure I'd have to rely on some other people for that. I'm not sure where that, the balance goes there, but.
Okay, thanks.
Right.
Yeah, sorry. So to go back to what Colleen was saying, do we still have a system for text alert?
Yeah, we do.
We just haven't used it in a while, right?
We just haven't used it. Yep.
So we could like put that down on the website, which is very, big. Then they could sign up, because I know for my kids, I get text alert all the time and the freaking bus is late or something's happening. That is something I think we would feel in that need, Colleen, as far as that instant message, to the community members. If there's a road that's closed, a tree's down or whatever, that's a great communication platform that we definitely should use more often.
That was actually
we will have a sign up on the site for, but that would be ultimately staff's job in facilitating.
Hey, Josh.
That. Yeah.
Can you though explain that it's not as simple as just sending a text? There's a cost to the text. There's a cost to e-blast, I believe. So
no,
we also want to be careful about not overusing text.
Yeah, that's part of the text system is there. We probably need to formulate a standard for when a text alert is the appropriate method of communication, because through different management, there have been different ideas as far as when to use that. And so that's created a little bit of an inconsistent experience, I think, for our community in terms of the text alerts. So having a formed strategy there would be helpful.
That could be something that we can, create, John. That's great. I mean, then it could at least like give an idea. And, when we do this, I don't want to get into that right now because, you've got a meeting coming up, John. But we can talk about that next meeting. I'd actually like to talk about that more because, I got hit with a lot of that over the snowstorm and stuff. And, I think it's good, but we got to make sure that we're sending the right information to the right people, So, Ann, did you have anything else on the site? Okay. Yeah, Sandy, we'll have an interim meeting. I plan on getting with you guys about moving our meeting time because it's a lot for John to deal with document review, finance. We're always backed up against finance. I'd like to have a little bit more time so we can actually kind of dig in and get creative on some things, if that's cool with you guys. Because right now we're just kind of formulating basic ideas and we're going to have to shoot some emails back and forth, but we'll bring our findings to the next meeting. And, but lastly, community outreach, again, I'm putting together these e-blasts. So if you have anything that, we should be sharing, or you think that's shareable or whatever, that needs to get in there, just give me a heads up. Yeah. And then John, please let me know about the, ask the GM. We'll have to get some things up about that, but I wanted to talk about the views and all that, but we can have an interim meeting soon. I'll reach out to everyone about timing and see what we can do, as well as you, John, of course, because you're the most important key figure here, and that keeps us all glued together. But if it's okay, I would like to go ahead and end this meeting because John has another one coming up. I will send you all information, this flow chart and some other stuff on the website, and then we'll go from there if that sounds good. Okay.
Okay.
We do motion to
Did you have
adjourn?
something, Trang?
What?
What's that?
I was just nodding, like I agree.
Okay.
I was trying to be helpful and say motion to adjourn.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you. Sorry about the awkward introduction. I don't know how to do that. Yeah, I'm in the basement by myself all day. I'm finally getting to see people. So anyways, I want to thank
Can't
you
even
all.
remember how to talk.
I thought that was productive and good vibes all around. I don't want this to be a political horse and buggy show over here. So I think that was great, and I'm looking forward to working with you all, and I'll send you an email with some requests and ideas, and then we can go from there. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Third.
All of those in favor?
Thanks,
Awesome.
Josh.
Thank you, John, so much.
Bye, John.
All right.
Bye, everybody.